All right, she has entertained us for years with her comedy. She won an Oscar for her dramatic role in Precious, but today, Monique takes us inside her own emotional and physical transformation. And the moment that led her to make a change that has helped her lose 100 pounds. Please welcome Monique. You look so good. You look so good. Isn't that fabulous?
Thank you.
So amazing.
Why, thank you.
You feeling good?
I feel absolutely amazing. From the inside out. It makes a big difference. It really does.
So I can't say, I bet every single person watching wants to know, how the heck do you lose 100 pounds?
You know, very carefully.
That's right. You don't want to go too far.
And a lot of hard work. And what I discovered for me is that it wasn't in a pill. It wasn't in a shake. It wasn't in processed foods. It was me getting up in the morning time, putting the work in. Now, it's been about 5 years. Did not happen overnight. Because oftentimes we want it quick. So I had to take my time, and in doing that, I really began to find out who I was. And going through that journey and that process, and just started walking. And when you start walking and you start playing things in your mind, how did I allow myself to get here? And how far do I want to go in life? And you start having those conversations just personally with yourself. I call it my church. And it's really made a huge difference in my life. And now, when I don't work out, my body says, what's happening? You mad with us? Why aren't you putting in the work? So I've actually begun to enjoy working out.
So again, 100 pounds is such a huge milestone. Is it hours and hours a day? How do you actually get the activity in?
You know, it's actually 60 minutes. It's 1 hour a day. Now, do I have a personal trainer? Yes. I don't want anyone to believe that I am Superwoman, baby, and I am doing this by myself. I have on 3 girdles today, but that's okay. That's okay. But to have a personal trainer, and she was an expert, Natasha Swan, she's an expert on training the body. So I had to get with her day in and day out, and I told her what I wanted my body to look like. I said, I want to be shapely. I want to keep my curves. I want to keep my roundness. And she became my surgeon without ever cutting on my body.
So I've seen all this wonderful stuff you've got online about your dancing.
Yes.
So would you mind narrating this for me? This is hilarious. I think it's so well done. Here you are. Look at this. There you are, dancing away.
I'll get it.
You get into the rim. You like that?
Yeah. Oh, yes, indeed. Let me tell you. Oh, that's my Beyonce dance right there.
Oh, good. That's right.
Ow.
So you said earlier that this required you to find out who you were.
Yes.
I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Who are you? What was rock bottom? What started this?
You know, I think rock bottom was, and I don't know to call it rock bottom. I want to call it the beginning.
Beginning.
Was the day that my husband and I were in the shower. And when I got out of the shower, I'm standing there and I'm being my sexy self in the mirror. And he said, Mama, how much do you weigh? And I knew the number was 300 pounds, but I couldn't say it. I could not say that out loud. So I said, 266 pounds. And he looked at me and he said, that's too much. And I want you for a lifetime. Well, I've never had anyone say that to me. And I've never had anyone to love me that way. And I gotta tell you, when you first hear someone say your weight, I was embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt guilty. But I felt the one thing I've never felt before, and that was an unconditional love with someone saying, I want you for a lifetime. So I went into my closet and I cried because I was saying, how could he say it out loud? But when I came out, I hugged my husband so tight. And I'm like, Daddy, thank you so much, because I want you for a lifetime too. And I did 10 jumping jacks right there, baby.
It started it.
Right
it started
there.
It.
Butt naked.
Yeah. Butt naked.
Everything was moving.
So obviously, for most people who have lost that kind of weight,
Yes.
they knew they had to do it. There was an obstacle that was holding them back from doing it.
You know, I think that from a little girl, 7 years old, when I started getting molested, food was my friend. Food was my friend. It became my lover. It became everything. everything because food was going to be that one thing that never let me down. It wasn't going to lie to me. It wasn't going to mistreat me. So we developed this amazing relationship. And even now, some of the food is mad with me because it's saying, Monique, you going to leave us like that? Like, how you going to treat us like that? But it was until I had to break that barrier. And I remember one day Sydney saying to me, at what point are you going to accept responsibility for you? If you keep holding on to yesterday, your tomorrow is never going to get different. So I had to remove that part of my life and say, that was then. And how much longer am I willing to carry this with me? So I was an emotional eater. It just made me feel better. If it was good times, bad times, in between times, food was that thing that said everything's going to be okay.
Unbelievable insight. You know, a lot of us go through our entire lives and never can tease at the real issues that hold us back.
Well, you know, I think because the way that it's given to us and the way that it's put out there. And I got to tell you, I really appreciate the fight that you're putting up to label the food.
Oh, God bless you.
Give us an option. Give us a choice. Let us know. Now, if you still choose to get it. But at least let me know what I'm putting inside of my body. And another thing I think is important, when people say, Monique, what do you eat? I try to only eat things, Dr. Oz, that I can pronounce.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's a good place to start.
If I cannot pronounce it, my body is saying, I can't recognize it either. I don't know what, now I don't always win, because those chicken wings at Virgil's, okay?
Yeah, they're good.
Aren't they the best ever in the world? They are the best. But I try to make sure I'm eating things that I can recognize. And I enjoy my second chance at motherhood. And when I get women that tweet me, and they come on Instagram and they say, Mo, how are you doing it? And I say, one day at a time. Because we'll set unrealistic goals. And we'll say, in 90 days, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. Well, that is so unrealistic, and the damage that you'll do to your body. So I say, if you just drink one extra bottle of water, if you just not eat that extra piece of fried chicken, if you take a half a piece of cake, every little bit counts. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So it's no rush. Though I've lost 100 pounds, I found some of it back, Dr. Oz, okay?
You're looking pretty good to me.
But still working toward it, still knowing that it's for the rest of my life, not just for a moment. Because you'll have us, we'll get ready for our wedding, we'll get ready for the class reunion, we'll get ready for all of these events, but not realizing the rest of your life is the biggest event you'll ever attend.
Beautiful, beautiful. You mentioned fame.
Yes.
Obviously, you know, starring in Precious, getting the kind of acclaim you've gotten, it allowed you to tap into something deep in your soul that had to be expressed. How did the history of molestation that you mentioned affect your decision to take that role and how you did with it?
You know, when I first got the script, and it was called Push initially, and I read that script, I called Lee Daniels and I said, if we do what's on this paper, it will save lives. Because Mary Jones was my oldest brother, Gerald. I knew that person. I knew the damage that that person had done, but also what Mary Jones did for me. She allowed me to forgive my brother because I understood that it's a sickness, and anyone in their right mind would not bring that kind of harm to another human being. So playing that character allowed me to release the resentment that I held for my brother. Now, if I don't ever see him again, I'm okay with that. But at least I don't walk around with that anger and that bitterness as to how could you do this to me, and understanding my brother needs some help.
I have thoroughly fallen in love with you. Such great insight. I'm serious. These are challenges we all face in life, and the way you've been able to make sense of them, make peace of them, it just gives me so much hope for all of us to be able to struggle through it. There are many who probably would argue that you've been blacklisted in Hollywood.
They said that, Dr. Oz. Shame on them.
Shame on them. But there are, I think, some places where you probably could have had roles, you don't have them. Do you think there's truth to that?
You know, you being a person that sits in a seat that is now trying to defend your character over things that you say, guys, this is not true. And let me show you why it's not true. I never bought into being blackballed or blacklisted. That was someone's perception. As those 10 doctors, that's their perception of you. There's no facts. This is what they think. So that was what Mr. Daniels perception was. I never bought into it because the scripts never stopped coming, the offers never stopped coming, but the scripts and the offers that were coming, they just didn't make sense. And then when Lee Daniels said, "You've been blackballed," well, since you hadn't seen me, and he said, "You've been blackballed," we married that together. Well, that's why we haven't seen her. So no, not true at all. However, you haven't seen me because it simply didn't make sense. Now, when you see me April 24th.
Blackbird, please tell everybody about this.
Yes.
If you want to. I have a little clip I'm going to share as well. I think this is incredibly provocative. You want to show the clip first or talk about it?
Why don't you show the clip first?
All right, you guys are going to love this. Take a look. That is intense. And what is the message that you hope people will take from that experience?
The message that we hope people walk away with is simply acceptance, and that God is love, and there's no but behind it. It's a movie about a young man being raised in the Deep South, trying to accept his sexuality, trying to deal with the fact that he was born a homosexual. And his mother, the character I play, Clara, she's so deeply rooted in her religion. And she believes everything that's in the Bible. She believes everything that the pastor says on the pulpit, so much so that she finds it hard to love her baby through probably one of the most difficult journeys that he'll take in his life if his own family can't accept who he is. Isaiah Washington plays that young man's dad. And Isaiah does not play the stereotypical dad of a gay son. Because normally when you see television or the movies and there's a gay son involved or a gay daughter, it's get out of my house and it's the dad. But in this film, you watch Isaiah Washington love his son through this journey. And the young man, Julian Walker, when I walked on set the first day, Dr. Oz, the same feelings I got about Gabourey Sidibe are the same feelings that we have about Julian Walker. Because here's a young man that goes to school in Mississippi, has never acted before, so he didn't know to be afraid of it. He's fearless, courageous, brave, and he gives it everything. And the director, Patrick Ian Polk, he went the standard route of Hollywood, trying to cast this film for the young man. And everyone that came out, they were all very afraid because they didn't know what people were going to think about him. Will they think I'm gay? Will this destroy my career? And for this young man to take on such a courageous role without a thought of being fearful, but his thought is, if I can save the life of one young man or one young girl going through trying to find their own identity and being unapologetic for simply who they were made to be, he said, Monique, we've done our job. So with this movie, it's one of those films that when you walk away from it, we hope it starts a different conversation in the churches. We hope it starts a different conversation in the barbershops and beauty salons and at the dinner tables. Because how much longer do we continue to throw our babies away simply for the way they were born to be?
God bless you. Thank you very much. So beautifully stated. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.